Hello, my name is Glennie, and in this video, I will be going over how I implemented the Doodle game for the CSCB58 final project. So I'll be going through the 5 milestones from 1 to 5, starting with milestone 1 to 3, which are essentially the basic functionality. So before I begin, I have my display settings for the game in the top left of the display, which are the same as the ones in preamble. Okay, so to start the game, I have to press P, lowercase p on the keyboard to enter the game. And once that happens, I'm in. So for milestone 1, I need to properly animate the doodler, which is the blue rectangle, and the platforms, which are the 3 green rectangles. So as you can see, the doodler is moving up and down, so it should be animating properly. If I want to see the platforms animate, I have to move the doodler up. Yep, the platforms are shifting downwards, so they are animating. And new platforms appear whenever necessary. Also, if the platform or doodler intersects with the scoreboard, it'll draw itself on top of the scoreboard. And furthermore, there'll also be a white bar or a background colored bar on top of the object for visual clarity. And it only happens temporarily when the object is moving. Alright, so that's milestone 1. Milestone 2, I need to ensure input for the doodler. Alright, so move left with J here, move left, I'll land on a platform. Move right using K, I'll move right, land on another platform. And that's pretty much it. It's milestone 2. Milestone 3, as you might have already saw, if a platform falls off the edge of the screen, another one spawns randomly. And this is how I ensure that there's always 3 platforms on the screen at any given time. Okay, so in order to end the game, the doodler has to fall to an illegal area, which is essentially the bottom of the screen. So let's see here, the doodler falls to the bottom of the screen and the game ends. So that's milestone 3. Milestone 4, I decided to implement the scoreboard. So essentially how score works in this game is that the doodler must land on a platform which is at a high enough height. And that height is around 1/3 of the screen height, starting from the bottom. So to demonstrate here, the doodler right now is jumping up and down from a platform that is too low. So as a result, the score does not change. It's still a 0. If I decide to jump at a higher platform, like the one next to it, oh, it's high enough. So I get a point as indicated on the scoreboard. I get a 1. Oh, this platform is also high enough. So I get another point. This platform is also high enough. I get a 3rd point, and so on. And so, and in terms of the scoreboard, once I hit 9 points, the 10th point will cause the 1's digit to turn to 0 and the 10th digit to turn into a 1. And it repeats the same pattern for hundreds and thousands digit if you get that far, like a normal scoreboard, like so. Here, yeah. For dynamic increase in difficulties, as you might have already noticed, at the 10th point, oops, I just died. Okay, but at the 10th point, what happens is that the background color changes to become a darker shade of gray, and this happens every 10th point up until the 70th point, I believe. So yeah. However, this background color change happens gradually. So what ends up happening is that there's a lot of muddle or clutter in the background, which temporarily distracts the player as they can't concentrate on the doodler. And until the background eventually smooths out, the player will have a challenge in the game, which increases the difficulty. Now, in terms of permanent difficulty increase, at every 20th point, at a 20th, 40th, and 60th point, since platforms can become infinitely small, the platform becomes 2 blocks smaller. And this increases the difficulty since it's harder for the player to aim the doodler to correctly land on a smaller platform. So I can see at 20th point, yeah, the platform should become small. Yep, it becomes smaller, as seen here. All right, now that's it with milestone 4. So on to milestone 5. Um, firstly, uh, there's a random message, a dynamic on-screen notification that appears every 10th point as a way for the game to congratulate or compliment the player for the score. And it's a random message. It's 1 out of 3 possible messages, I believe. Let's see what we get at number 30. Oh yeah, poggers. Nice. All right. So at the 40th point, I should be either getting poggers again or one of the other 2 messages. So as you may have seen throughout the video, every 10 point I do get some sort of message. All right, now on to the second feature implemented in milestone 5, which is the more platform types. So when the blocks break apart at the 20th and 40th and 60th level, the blocks don't just shrink, they also sort of break apart into another platform type called a block fragment. So what happens is that for the normal platforms, they're either static or dynamic. Well, they're usually dynamic since you're constantly moving in the game. But for the platform fragments, which are a lot smaller, but usually smaller than the normal platforms, usually smaller, these platform fragments are static, so they don't move. And they can only be broken when a normal platform like falls on top of it. And the purpose of these platform fragments is that at higher levels, the smaller platforms make it increasingly harder to properly land on a platform. So for example, if 2 opposing platforms spawn at the opposite edges, it's kind of hard to move your Doodler from one platform to the other without spamming the keyword, which is an easy way to get Mars to crash. So to sort of compensate or help the player, these fragments help you generate platform spawn. So if you jump up and down here, you wait for a good platform to spawn. Oh, that's a good platform. So you can continue playing the game and increasing your points when you get an unlucky platform to spawn. And as you saw right there, the normal platform block that fell on top of the platform fragment also managed to break the fragment as well. And lastly, for the graphics, I did implement a pause screen. So I press P and the game is paused. And I can pause and pause anywhere as long as the game is still running. So, I want to pause when I hit the platform. Okay, pause right there. I'm done pausing now, so I'm paused. And the game continues as usual. Furthermore, the background, as it becomes gradually darker, it's sort of reminiscent of how Doodler is constantly jumping up. So imagine if Doodler starts at the ground and jumping platforms up and up into the sky. So it's like the Doodler is going into space, and to represent that, I make the sky darker and darker. And lastly, I want to show the death screen. So when the platform, when the Doodler dies, RIP gets animated as the game over screen. And for the game start screen, as you previously saw, Doodler Doodle jump is animated, and like so. So that's for graphics, and that is pretty much my game. So that concludes my presentation. Thank you for listening.